Howdy. In this presentation, we'll be analyzing Dory's psychological condition. The character we're analyzing is Dory, a blue tankfish from the 2003 movie Finding Nemo. Some background is that Marlin's son Nemo is taken by scuba divers after traveling too close to a boat. Marlin then undergoes a long journey to find his son, where along the way he meets Dory. We'll be analyzing Dory's interactions through this movie. The setting takes place in the Great Barrier Reef near Sydney, Australia. Dory has anterograde amnesia, which is memory loss characterized by the inability to retain new information, events, or memories that occur after brain trauma. In the fish universe, there is a lack of psychological and medical knowledge. A therapist or any fish would be confused, frustrated, or consider her condition simply as her personality or a joke. I believe that the disorder is diagnosed in all modern day developed cultures. A recent article I read states that there is now a consensus that amnesia associated with hippocampal and in many cases broader medial temporal lobe damage results in deficits in episodic memory, delayed recall, and recollective experience. However, debates continue regarding the patterns of preservation and impairment across a range of abilities, including semantic memory and learning, delayed recognition, working memory, and imagination. Generally, what this means is that the disorder is diagnosed and considered across most cultures, but some symptoms and patterns of the disease of the disorder are still under debate. The reason I believe it's diagnosed under all cultures is the condition is highly noticeable and limited in condition, and also very recognizable from the date of the brain trauma. Modern day religion, culture, and media has also accepted and become informed of the condition. Some stigmas of the disorder is that these people are less intelligent or reliable, that they can't do something that they are taught. Yes, they may forget, but they can do what they're taught, or that they're not attentive or caring, like they just don't care about it, and that's why they forget, or confusion with other mental condition, like Alzheimer's, retrograde amnesia, dementia, etc. Okay, evidence. In the movie, Dory shows an inability to retain recent information. Dory constantly forgets what was just learned or said in the movie and constantly needs reminders/repetition of information. An example is Dory constantly repeats to herself the address for finding Nemo to herself in order to try to remember. However, she forgets the address several times when it isn't present in front of her. She's also often seen forgetting what Marlin's son is called and calls him Bingo, Fabio, Chico, etc. Another symptom that's shown is the inability to form new memories. Dory constantly forgets events that recently occurred or people she's recently met. In continuous amnesia, example, anterograde dissociative amnesia, an individual forgets each new event as it occurs. Example of this is Dory offers to lead Martin in the way of the boat that took his son. However, mere moments later, she forgets that she's leading him and gets scared that another fish is following her everywhere. One unknown symptom or a weak symptom shown is disorientation. Dory generally, other than just forgetting what she's doing, doesn't show a loss of sense of direction, place, or time. So there's no actual treatment for anterograde amnesia. So daily journals, repetition and chunking of info practice, checklists, and organizing their physical environment are great ways to manage the symptoms. An article I read talks about Angie, an anterograde amnesia patient who's living her best life. And it says Angie relies heavily on written lists to keep track of tasks and information. A notable example is a limited list of shower tasks with a clothespin to mark completion. These methods limit the mental patient's reliance on their own mental abilities by creating a routine and simplified task for the patient to follow when they forget. Some ethical concerns is the freedom of the individual, creating a routine environment and schedule limits their freedom and change. Barriers, there isn't any medical technology to fully cure androgyne amnesia in this society. In Dory's case, the study of psychology doesn't even exist, so there's no guidance available on how Dory can manage her condition. Broader perspective. The movie does actually display a relatively accurate portrayal of anterograde amnesia. Dory's symptoms are very clearly seen and portrayed to show how amnesia can impact different social interactions. However, it's also portrayed very extremely for comedic effect and doesn't take into account emotional impact of the disease. For example, Dory is always very optimistic and happy, and these patients aren't always. The portrayal of disorders in film heavily clouds our understandings of these disorders, as films usually intensify or overemphasize the disorder symptoms in order to make the film more impactful or entertaining. These are my references. Thank you.